a hurricane, it's over before you know it. Why you shaking? We're a dynasty in the making. We're the royalty. Now we're breaking down the enemy. Move over. The soldiers. Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine. We live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights for the glory. For the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer. It's the ultimate high for the glory. We do it for yeah, we've waited for our time to come, calculated everything we've done, we've upgraded. Now you can't outrun a champion. Now you're facing what? Can you hear them? Yeah, it's all for us. You believe them? Yeah, it's serious. Hear the siren. We're victorious. I'm telling you. Can I get a hell yeah? Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine. We live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights for the glory. For the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer. It's the ultimate high.
Thank you for allowing us to be part of your family. This is Joe Bloomstrom and Lori Bloomstrom, and behind us here is a picture of our son Paul, who is part of the sim racing family, and it's just so cool that you're allowing us to be a part of this, and we really appreciate you thinking of Paul the way you do.
Just wanted to thank you guys. We are so grateful you're doing this in Paul's honor. He really loves this community, and we are hoping that we can raise some funds for St. Jude's charity. We have a special place in our hearts for St. Jude's. They help kids, and we are really grateful.
Paul loved you guys. We miss him terribly. He was a great son, great guy, made friends all over the world, including all of you. Thank you so much.
Paul loved to go fast, and I hope you guys do too. Thank you.
Welcome in, everybody. It is Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening if you're way over on the other side of the pond, and that means it's Vegas Cup Series time, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome back. This is our split one round 5 race for the Vegas Cup Championship in support of St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital and the Bloomstrom family. This weekend, we're going to be racing at St. Croix B. This is a fictional racetrack designed and developed by Polyphony Digital and Gran Turismo. It is a very fast, large racetrack. It has wide a tarmac surface on it, which is going to allow for some pretty good fast racing, I suspect, here today. So on the screen in front of us there, a little bit about the track and what the track looks like there. And as always here this season, there's no tire mandate. It is 100% completely random weather, but I do believe that rain does not apply here, as this is a fictional racetrack, I believe. And on the schedule there, you can see we are at round number 5. So this is our mid-season point already. We are cruising through this championship. And that takes us into a very spicy round 6 next weekend here at GT45 Gaming, No Lander Gaming, and Fast Ginger on YouTube. And, well, bring your umbrellas and your raincoats, ladies and gentlemen, because next weekend's round is going to be wet. But this weekend, it's all about St. Quabi. This is a really fast-flowing racetrack. It's 4.9 miles. It is a 7-kilometer racetrack. Has 14 left and right-hand corners. It is a tarmac road surface. It's an original circuit, meaning it's a Gran Turismo Special. It has an elevation change of roughly about 144 feet, give or take. And of course, that was something else we had going on just yesterday. Finished up at 7 o'clock this morning. We were also doing our fundraising effort for St. Jude's.
Year 400,000 children like Justin develop cancer. If he had been born in the United States, his chances of survival would have been 80%. But in his native Ecuador, those chances are much lower. In resource-limited countries, survival rates are below 30%. Where a child lives is the most powerful predictor of whether they will have cancer. There are many contributing factors to the disparity in pediatric cancer survival rates, including access to life-saving medicines.
So access to quality medications is critical for the success of any programs at the country level or global. Children cannot survive, cannot have hope without proper access to medicines. This has been something that we have identified as a priority.
St. Jude has long been dedicated to improving pediatric health worldwide. Building on our established global ecosystem of creation, we are launching a transformative initiative, the global platform for access to childhood cancer medicines.
We are now able to tackle the rare pediatric cancers and make progress against those because we're working as a global community that will allow us to purchase generic drugs and distribute those to low and middle income countries at no cost.
The global platform works by creating a central procurement entity within the World Health Organization, the UNICEF, the Pan American Health Organization. Then the governments engage to develop the production and the supply of these medicines. And these are the medications that are considered to be critical and required for all children with cancer, wherever they are.
Today, essential cancer medicines are starting to arrive in 6 countries: Ecuador, Zambia, Jordan, Uzbekistan, Nepal, and Mongolia. These medicines, provided at no cost to local institutions, represent the first step in an effort to reach 50 countries and treat more than 120,000 children in 5 to 7 years.
Danny's dream was that no child die in life, and he was thinking perhaps the United States, but I think in the back of his mind he was always thinking of a global landscape, and I see as the logical direction for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital to go, and for the entire field of PD oncology.
The global platform is more than a lifeline for children like Justin facing cancer. Foundation for a future where children have access to life-saving care. By working together, building toward our founders' dream that no child die in the dawn of life, no matter where they're born.
All right, welcome back. So, I apologize about the lag. The stream just came off a 24 plus hour stream overnight here, so I think it's a little unhappy with me at the moment. But we'll go over the lobby settings here for our race today, and then we're gonna hopefully the rest of our pro grid shows up here. We're missing about half our grid currently here right now, so we're 8 minutes to race time. So I'm not sure they could still be locked up in that other race and that they're usually finishing up by now as well. So we'll give a couple extra minutes time if we need to for those guys to get in. We're missing 1, 2, 3, 4. We're missing 5. Wow. That's a lot. Alright, so time of day here in our race this afternoon is afternoon. It is random weather, so we do not know if it's going to be sunny, cloudy, windy, foggy, hazy, any of the above. I do believe that rain does not factor in this weekend. It is a 60-minute endurance style race, and it is 3 times tire and 3 times fuel for our racers. Damage is on light. There are red flags in play for certain situations. It is caution flags on, penalty flags are on, penalty shortcuts are on. Weak slipstream is real, off-track grip is also real. Refueling speed is 9 liters per second, and the drivers start with a full tank of fuel. There is no qualifying pre-race here this season. It is reverse grid based off of previous round of racing, and if you missed a round, you'll be placed at the back of the racing order based off your point standings. So if you are in second place overall in championship point standings and the other person that missed a race the previous week is 8th place in the point standings, the person in 8th place is going to go ahead with the person in second place in point standings. Basically is how it breaks down. Alright, we got JP. We're missing Jake, we're missing Roses, we're missing Sheriff. We're missing Mad Reaper. Could be a small lobby today. I do not mind at all, Jakey, you know that. I was already anticipating on holding the lobby for a few extra minutes because I figured you guys are probably just finishing up over there, so. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, which is absolutely fine. So, I just want to say thank you to everybody over the weekend here. As I said, we did take the Vegas Cup Series St. Jude Children's Research Hospital fundraising to Spa 24 Hours for the International Racing Organization last weekend. The Porsche you see on screen right now, just above my arrow on the screen there, is the car that we ran over the weekend here. We finished this race up 6 hours ago, actually, and we finished in 8th place. It was a really great race start, and then we kind of fell apart at the seams a little bit, and managed to hold top 10 in the race. So I mean, I'm happy with. At the end of the day, I'm happy with everything that happened and with the team, with the effort in the IRO season. But the important thing was we definitely raised a little more money towards the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital Foundation and the fundraising cause, and that is what's really most important. That's why we did. Decided to move the Vegas Cup Series over there. We made a special livery for it, which of course you guys seen in the streams over the last couple weekends as well. And that's all said and done. That's all dusted now. So that season is over here for 1010 Sim Racing and International Racing Organization for the second split. But there will be a split 1 race here this weekend as well over at the International Racing Organization. So just want to say thank you to everybody that's been supporting the championship, the Vegas Cup Series, and of course the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital Foundation fundraising events. But we're not done yet. We got to keep pushing, ladies and gentlemen. So sharing is caring. You know what to do. Share the content out. Get that link shared out. We have to continue forcefully sharing this out through the internet to keep the algorithm forcing it out to new people, new faces, and new locations around the world. The more people that we can hit with that, the better chance we have of success for the fundraising campaign. So we are about halfway through our fundraising campaign after this weekend's racing round, and we're not quite halfway to our goal yet. So we got some work to do. We got some work to do, guys and gals. So sharing is caring. Like, share the streams out. Make sure you take that charity campaign link and share it out. And just as I say that, I realize I have not pinned that in the comments yet today. So let's correct that right now. Yeah, I'll give you a few minutes, man. All right, now that we've got that sorted out. All right, so we are going to hold our lobby here for a few extra minutes, and I'm sure some of the racers probably don't mind. It gives them a couple extra laps of free practice, essentially, here. So again, we shouldn't see race here today. It should stay as a dry race, essentially. Now, what the weather does is a completely different story. With that being said, I got to turn the stream off on my phone. Apparently, I didn't shut it off. Nothing worse than trying to commentate and literally like 8 seconds later hearing exactly what you just said while you're still in the middle of a thought process. Anyways, so it's still looking like a smaller lobby here today, and I mean that happens. It happens, most certainly happens. But I mean that just means that's laps put in for the racers that are here this weekend, and for the racers that are not here, that's points that are not being gained, and that's a zero. I mean that's an immediate drop round for a racer right there when you get a zero. So. Guess we'll see how it all works out at the end of the season. All right, let's go. All right, we'll give him a few minutes here. So, Jakey was also one of the officials in the 24-hour split 2 race over the last 24 hours as well. So, plus he just finished I think an hour-long race. So we'll give him a couple extra minutes of time here, and much the same for JP as well. He was also in that same championship race break leading up into our round 5 race here. So I think what we might do is just talk to our pro lobby in between the week here and see if we can just push back racing time by 30 minutes for the rest of the season, and that should help alleviate some of that issue a little bit, get a little bit of a time frame for them to go post race, kind of unwind slightly, and then stretch a little bit, even maybe, right? Go get a quick bite to eat or something, and then they come back and race, right? So that extra half hours would probably be clutch, I would imagine, for some of these guys. So we'll talk to our racing crew. It's always up to the drivers at the end of the day in those situations. So once we got the championship running, we don't like to change rules or change processes once we got going. But with a unanimous decision based off a vote by that particular racing division, if all the racers are okay with it, then obviously there's no issue with making the change, right? But we don't just make that change without talking to our racers first. Like I said, we're still missing Rose's Sheriff and Reaper. Dylan maybe want to change his oil. It's quite possible. So, in the game, in Gran Turismo 7, when you run official races, so an official race is, say, an open lobby or a daily race or something like that. In this situation, it's a league race. It's an open lobby, quote unquote, but it's a private lobby without the password, unfortunately. But so once you have hit the start race button, essentially, and the racers race and they get that checkered flag, that adds miles and wear and tear to your car, right? So in GT7, when you do official races, so I mean, if you're just in a lobby and you're running free laps and you're not racing against anybody and you're just doing practice laps, so to speak, that doesn't quote unquote add wear and tear to your oil and your body rigidity and stuff like that. But when you run these hour-long league races, for example, or just like the 24-hour race that we came from, basically every driver stint you have to bring the car into the garage and you got to do an oil change on it, and you got to make sure that the engine and rigidity of the body is okay, right? So this is the same thing here, right? So sometimes drivers right at the last minute, because maybe somebody says something or maybe I say something on the stream, sometimes realize that, oh crap, I need to go change my oil here. So most likely what we're seeing there. We have seen some server issues this weekend as well, so I got my red alert up here this weekend for round number 5 as well. Hopefully we don't have any server issues here today or lobby issues. So within the rules and regulations of the Vegas Cup Series, it does allot the lobby host, whoever that may be, up to 15 minutes past green flag drop to start the race. So we usually don't have an issue holding the lobby for 5 or 10 minutes. Most of the racers usually don't have an issue holding the lobby for an extra 5 or 10 minutes. We don't usually like to go past that 10-minute mark, but we do have an allotment of 15 minutes if necessary in the lobby. So alright, as soon as Jakey ticks in, yes sir, we can set the grid up for these guys and then we'll drop the green flag at 10 minutes after the hour. Pardon me. Surprised I still got a voice left after yesterday. You're all good, Jake. You're all good, brother. You're all good, man. We're not stressing. Right, chat? We're not stressing. It's going to be a small grid here today. It's going to be 9 of our pros here out of the currently 12 running in the series here. So there's been a couple of issues within the championship here this season. And one driver has left willingly, I guess is a good way to put it. And potentially their compadre is also doing the same thing. We're not really sure. But 2 drivers were suspended for last weekend's racing round due to their off-track behavior, and we'll just leave it at that. So we are definitely down a couple of our pro drivers here right now in the season, but you know what? It is what it is. We have a rulebook here at GT45 Gaming, and when our racers sign up for any championship, they are signing up under the rules and regulations of that rulebook on top of the specific league or series regulations pertaining to that specific championship as well. So you got to follow the rules. I mean, when you sign up for a championship officially, like, with all the official registrations that we do and everything like that, I mean, you got to play by the rules. And if not, you know, there's a cause effect of breaking the rules, right? So, and sometimes racers take offense to that, and then they just quit. You know, they get mad, and I mean, that's just life. That's just the way it goes. So, you know, we don't have time for that kind of stuff here. We just want to race. We just want to put on a good show for our viewers and our fans, and we want to raise some money for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital at the end of the day. So, we really don't have time or room for that kind of stuff. So, it's you know, at the end of the day, we're down a couple of racers. can't make it this week. You're all good, Jersey. You're all good, brother. Alright, we got our drivers checked in here, so we're going to do a double lobby. We don't need to do a double lobby reset, literally because of the fact that really it's not going to make a difference here. So let's get our grid order set. I'm just going to bring a graphic up here real quick for everybody so I can see what my grid order is. Alright, we're just doing a little bit of behind the scenes, getting the drivers checking in, ready type thing. We don't want to repeat the last week. Good luck, everyone. Hey, we appreciate you, Jersey. Oh, I mean, we were waiting for a couple of racers that were racing out in another championship here as well, so I mean, it's no big deal, Jersey. You're all good, my friend. We appreciate the heads up. Alright, looks like our races are ready to go here, so we still got about a minute here before we'll drop that flag, but I mean, it's time to go racing, ladies and gentlemen. This should be a fast-paced race. I think we're going to see some good battling here. It's going to come down to whether or not drivers make the mistakes really coming down in towards Bridge Hill and up through the bridges section of this racetrack is really the most troublesome spot here for these MR cars, so it should be quite interesting to see how that all plays out, but I think we're going to see a close race here today, I really do. That's what I'm looking for. All right. So for our racers, our last weekend's round standings will be finished after the race here this weekend. I was waiting on a set of results on one of the divisions, and the way SLP works is I can't update the race results officially until I have all the results at one time. It all needs to be done at the same time, so we do apologize, but I should have that all updated post-race here this afternoon for everyone as well. So now that I've got the information that I need to set the points up properly for everybody. So kick them tires, light them fires. Let's go Vegas Cup Racing Cinqua B Pro Division. And we go green, 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 and it's ATB sitting in pole position here today as the Supra and that Ferrari just gets a crazy launch. Those Ferraris get such great launches off the line here in GT7. So, I mean, we're not surprised to see Supra launch immediately up into the front of the pack here. And I think we're going to see a one-stop strategy here today for the most part from our racers. I think that's probably going to be the best viable strategy here, and I think it's going to probably be a one-stop medium style strategy here from our racers as well. So, was that a little bit of lag? I don't think that was a little bit of lag. Oh, we got man down and out here. Oh, we got replays today. Well, la-dee-da. Ooh, there was potential contact maybe right there. As they got into the corner there, not really sure. It looks like a big accordion effect as everybody came into the left-hander there. And unfortunately there, that was Doug that paid the price there, so he is on the back foot here now, but he's a pretty quick driver, so I don't think that he'll stay too far behind these guys and gals for too long. It just depends on exactly how bad that was. Oh, and it looks like it was maybe involving Dylan? Dylan gave the position back here, I think. I'm not sure what we're seeing there. I believe that may have been accidental contact. Obviously, that was not intentional contact, but I think our theory was right there, and I think that was a redress situation there. I think Dylan's just giving the spot back to Doug there. If that was the case, that we saw a little bit of a contact situation. So these guys are about 10 seconds off the pack here, but you know what? The people or the racers that know how to really run this course are not going to have trouble making up that time around this racetrack, I don't think, here. So we'll see how it goes here, but rough start to the race there. And we do have red flags in play here, but that's usually for heavy damage situations. They come out a lot more than you'll see in these light damage situations. A light damage model means that the driver's damage is going to go away after 30 seconds of receiving that damage. So it has to be a pretty big incident for us to call a red flag, or like last weekend, for example, we had a driver not ready on the grid, which caused the grid to pile up and ultimately caused a red flag situation, right? There are special circumstances, obviously, for that red flag, but as far as a turn one incident goes, it has to be a pretty big one in order for me to call a red flag on it. You know, I'm going to have to see 2 or 3 cars off the racetrack, and I'm going to have to see some pretty heavy damage on those race cars before I'm even going to consider it in the light damage model, right? So, in a sense, on the light damage model, you need to be even more careful on race start, because all you're really doing is penalizing yourself and the driver that you may have made contact with by, if you redress the position, I suppose. So, I mean, they just put you a little bit in behind the pack. Obviously, it's not, like I said, 99.99999% of the time. 3 wide as we head into the left-hander here is Jakey in the middle. It is ATB on the inside, and it was Streeter Tom on the outside. And then Miss Devious has got her nose poked in here now. We got ourselves a little showdown between these Porsches, really, essentially, and the Ford GT being driven by Jake there. We got Jay set in 7th place, so he's just sitting right in behind there with these this group of Porsches, just sitting in the tow, enjoying life, watching the show. Doug and Dylan now linked up together here. I would suspect it won't take too long for Doug and Dylan to at least come into the backside of the pack here. It's Supra in the race lead right now. He's about a second ahead of JP. Jakey is in 3rd place here now, so has moved through that pack of Porsches essentially, and is now trying to chase down Supra and JP there in 1st and 2nd place. ATB very close behind there in 4th place in the Rexy Porsche. Streeter Tom in 5th place. He's coming off a good podium finish from last weekend's round of racing at Laguna Seca there. Miss Devious is tucked right in behind there as Tom just nips the wall on the exit of the final corner there. J-Set is just sitting right there in the tow, still front row seat to the action. Doug Barrow 6.7 seconds behind, and Dylan's just right there at the edge of the tow as well. So, a little bit of a messy start. Day 2 turtle check-in. What is up, Jojo? Oof, big slide there from the Ferrari of Supra. He's going to go wide to get into the grass there a little bit, and that's now going to allow JP to close right in here on that very nice blue and purple pink Lamborghini here for Race Asylum. So JP is moving and grooving. He's one of our VR2 racers here as well in GT45 gaming community. We actually have a couple of VR2 racers in this split alone. We have 3 or 4 VR racers in total in the championship this season, so I know the Pro-Ams have at least one as well. But JP is one of those drivers running in the VR2 setup here this championship season, and races all the time in the VR2 setup here, I believe, on the Gran Turismo 7 platform as well. So there's quite a bit of a different look at the racetrack in the game from his point of view compared to the rest of us racers that just use wheel pedals and our TVs or computer monitors, whatever that situation is for each of us. Jakey here up into 3rd place, but we got a battle here between ATB and Streeter Tom right now, as Streeter Tom looks look up the inside of ATB. But I mean, we're in the same car here, so it's going to be pretty tough to out-drag race the same car, and Tom definitely tried there. He even tried to use the slipstream to get the slingshot past ATB there, but he's just going to have to hang out, sitting beside him here into the right-hander, and try to utilize the inside part of the corner. However, this corner you can use the outside, and oof, a little bit of contact there as ATB loses the back end of that Porsche a little bit there, and gets into the side of Tom just slightly there, and that opens the door for Miss Devious to get a twofer there. She slips up the the outside and gets 2 spots there, moving herself up into 4th place. Jay's trying to take advantage there as well as he closes in on the rear bumper of ATB there. And boy, this is some racing. I tell you what, Doug and Dylan very quickly closing in on that group of cars as well. So that 4-way battle potentially going to turn into a 6-way battle here very, very quickly. Good day. Welcome in. All right, so it is super here. We got a little bit of a small grid here. We're missing a handful, less than a handful of our racers here this weekend, but you know that's the way it goes. Some of these racers are just involved in the 24-hour race that we just finished running 6 hours ago as well. So understandably so that some just didn't make it. You know what happens. So Jakey here in 3rd position in the Ford GT race car. We've got Supra in the Ferrari 458. We've got JP in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 car. We've got Streeter Tom in the Porsche 911 RSR, as well as Mischievous and ATB. So Streeter Tom has gotten up into 4th place here ahead of Mischievous. Mischievous is dropping down 1 position into 5th place, and ATB is closing in here. So it is a trio of Porsches here in 4th, 5th, and 6th place, and it is a Peugeot RCZ chasing from and just in behind there, driven by J-Set, and then Doug in the Lamborghini Huracan as well in 8th place, and Dylan in that McLaren 650S here. Both drivers involved in an early turn 3 incident at race start there and are just closing back up on the pack from that incident on the racetrack. So they're moving, grooving, and flying. I mean, Dylan is been finishing right in the top end of the field here so far all season long, and we'll see how he handles having to come from a little bit further back than just the back of the field. So it is reverse grid based off of previous racing round finishing position, and then any racers that miss a round of racing just automatically get placed back at the pack of the next race entered. If I've got 2 or 3 or multiple drivers that missed a race and need to be placed at the back of the pack beyond the racing grid from the previous week, then I will go to the points table and we'll do the same thing. Essentially, we'll take the lowest points holders in the standings and put them ahead of that group of people that missed the race, and so on and so forth, up to the highest amount of points out of that 2 or 3 or 4 people, whatever the case may be. So essentially we reverse the grid based off that situation off of the official point standings for the championship season. Thankfully we didn't have to deal with that today because we don't quite have the official points ready yet from last weekend's round because I was missing a little bit of information. But we have that information now, and we'll have that all corrected up here post-race this weekend. South Dakota checking in. Hashtag Vegas Paul. What is up? We got Josh in. Is that Josh? Yeah, Josh up in the chat there too. I thought my YouTube chat is so tiny on this laptop, it's hard to see sometimes. Alright, so 1010's Miss Devious here in the St. Jude's car. Actually, this is the car that we just finished running over the last 24 hours here on track this weekend as well, showing the support in the St. Jude's Porsche 911 here that we just ran over the last 24 hours, so a few hours ago. So the car is hasn't even had a chance to cool down yet from that 24 hours of Spa. ATB here in 6th place. J-Set is right on the rear bumper of ATB here in 7th position. We got Doug Burrow closing in now, 2.4 seconds in behind, and Dylan is right there in tow with Doug Burrow there as well. So tire strategies, we're not seeing too many variations here as I continue just to quickly rip through. We'll have to wait and see. It's not a very long pit stop, if I'm not mistaken, here at St. Quabi. I think it's a fairly short pit stop here, and the big slide there by the Ferrari of Super there as he it goes a little off-roading there. Now that's going to obviously affect the way that the car is going to handle through this winding technical sector of S's leading up into the final corner here. By the time he gets around the final corner here, he should start to have a little bit of traction back underneath of him here, and JP is going on the outside. A Super does go defensive here into the final corner, and JP just tucks right back in behind the 29 Ferrari there and just continues along his way. So no urgency coming from JP currently here to force this battle. He's just going to continue using position in his car, and then, you know, using tactics, review mirror tactics, I like to call it, to see if we can get a reaction out of Supra, open up a hole for himself, and try to make some space to make that move, right? So he's got plenty of time. There's 48.5 minutes left of the race here today, and it does not need to happen right now, right? Stay close, wait for that mistake, or wait for an opportunity to attack. Jakey now in that Ford GTLM race car, coming around here. He is 1.7 seconds in behind, and that was a pretty big slide on the exit there. Streeter Tom is closing in 1.1 seconds in behind as well. Mischievous is right there, with a 2-second gap to ATP currently here in 6th place. From there, it's 1.1 seconds to JSET, and then Doug Burrow is 1.7 seconds in behind, and Dylan is just right there. So I feel like Dylan probably could have gotten around Doug a long time ago, I think. But I think Dylan is helping that Lamborghini get caught back up to the pack. And I think it's probably going to be each man for themselves at that point. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. There's a lot of great sportsmanship being shown there by Dylan, if that's the case. Lamborghini almost going a little bit too wide there. Had almost a whole check up in a sense there, so he didn't get into the wall on the exit of that right-hand sweeper. And that cost him a little bit of time on Supra and the Ferrari in front here. But Jakey is tracking here. 1.4 seconds is the gap, but so is Streeter Tom. Half a second in behind Jakey here. And Mischievous is just a second in behind these two as well. So St. Croix B is providing to be a little racy here today. If we had a full grid of cars, we'd be seeing some really hard battling, I think, here throughout this entire race. So it's unfortunate we don't have the whole grid here today, but, you know, that's racing. And racers can only race so much in 2 days, right? So, I mean, I totally understand why a couple of our racers are definitely not here this weekend. I don't know how I'm even able to still talk after broadcasting almost 24 hours. I mean, between me and Olander, we broadcast that whole 24-hour race this past weekend as well. I think I did 19 of the 24 hours, something like that. So yeah, surprised I'm even functioning today to myself. Plus I raced as well in a stint in the race as well for 10-10s. Not very well, but we raced nonetheless. Jay said here in 7th place. We got Doug Burrow here in 8th, and we got Dylan in 9th place. So 9 seconds now the gap between race leader and Dylan. That gap was, what, like 15-ish seconds? When we realized that Dylan was back there with Doug Burrow. So they've closed up 6 seconds on the Supra here up front in the race lead. But I mean, JP is just keeping it cool, calm, collected. He's just being a real cool customer, right? Again, another mistake a little bit made there by Supra. And you know, as he continues to push the car hard like that, he's going to wear the tires down, and eventually one of those small mistakes could very potentially turn into a bigger mistake and just open the door wide open for JP and now Jakey here. So a 3-way battle for the 3 podium positions here essentially right now, as Miss Devious now up into P4 here as well. So I'm not sure what happened to Tom. Tom must have had a moment on the racetrack there, as he's now dropped down in front of Dylan in 8th position here. So but we have working replays. We have working replays currently, so that's a plus. All right, side-by-side action here. Jakey on JP as we head into the final sector of the racetrack here, and nice, good, easy, clean, crisp textbook side-by-side pass right there from Jakey on JP. That puts JP down into 3rd place. Mischievous is 1.4 seconds in behind this podium pack here. So Supra coming around the final corner has half a second over Jakey. Jakey goes a little bit wide on the exit there. Going to lose a little bit of time. That now also brings JP back into the fight here with Jakey and tucks right in behind. JP gets some clean air, takes a little bit of a wider exit there, and settles right back in behind that Ford GT race car. Meantime, in the meantime, in there is 1.1 seconds behind is Miss Devious in the number 10 Porsche as well, and basically a 4-way battle for the overall race lead here currently right now. ATV in 5th place, only 4.9 seconds in behind, so we kind of have 2 packs of cars here right now. We got JSET in 6th place, just on the edge of the slipstream there, and then he's got pressure starting to be applied here from Doug Burrow, Streeter Tom, and essentially Dylan in behind here. So a 4-way battle for the race lead, and then essentially a 5-way battle for four-way battle from 6th down through 9th, and ATV's just kind of trying to break the gap, get away from the pack. So unfortunately, though, I think that's kind of not what he wants to do here. I think you want to be with the pack right now, because the pack working together could close back up to that front pack as well. And we got yellow flag up ahead here, so somebody was in trouble there. Who was it? Oh, it was Jakey. Oh no, Jakey in trouble on Bridge Hill. They're all the way back down to P number 9 there, and that now leaves Supra up in front here with a 1.6 second lead. JP here now in second place. Mischievous moves up into third place there, and we didn't see what happened there, but I forgot. We got replays. Let's see if we can catch it. Too late. Keep forgetting the replay function's actually working today. Alright, so JP closing back in on Supra here. We have Mischievous close right in on JP here. So again, the top three still very close together. And then there's a 5.8 second gap. And then there's the rest of the field here with ATB in fourth place. Doug Burrow now has managed to get ahead of JSET, and so has Streeter Tom. So JSET down 2 positions here, but now on the outside of Streeter Tom here as we get into this final sector. So Doug Burrow moves up into 5th place. Streeter Tom up into 6th position. We have JSET here in 7th. We got Dylan in 8th, and we got Jakey here in 9th, 1.8 seconds now after the moment on Bridge Hill. Bridge Hill, we said that is going to be a trouble spot for these drivers and these MR cars here at St. Croix B this weekend, and so far that's been proving to be correct. Bridge Hill, you're coming down at a really high rate of speed, you're coming downhill at that high rate of speed, and then you also have corners, and then you have a reverse uphill corner leading onto a concrete surface essentially. So it's a bit of a dicey section of the racetrack, especially for these MR cars where braking mid corner is not really a lot of an option. It tends to unstabilize, break the cars free, create slides, create some of the push, create some of the understeer. So you kind of having to use throttle to your advantage to rotate the car, and you definitely don't want to be coming into Bridge Hill too fast, because you are, well, either going to overshoot the corner, which is potentially what happened there to Jake, or you're just, the car's going to kick out on you and slide and spin and possibly block the racing line and create a bigger incident even potentially. But it's a wide racetrack here at St. Croix B, so there's lots of room to race, which is what I like about the racetracks, the St. Croix track circuits, because I mean they have a ton of room to race, and most parts of St. Croix B here you can basically race three wide through a lot of the areas of the racetrack because of how wide the racetrack is. So Streeter Tom here, after making a pit stop there, is 19 seconds in behind the pack in 9th place. So that was a pit stop there we see from Streeter Tom. So assuming that's a scheduled pit stop coming there from him, and the strategies are full at play here. Now there is 0 tire mandates this championship season, so it is open tire strat, and that's made for some interesting varying strategies this season, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, we've seen some strategies we didn't expect to see already this season as well in some of these races, and then what you think you're going to expect to see for the strategy is not necessarily the strategy this season. The drivers are really coming up with some different varying strategies from round to round for the most part, and it's made for some interesting race results as well. This weekend's a pretty cut and dry race, so I have my suspicion on what the strategy is going to be for the tire strategy on this race, but it doesn't mean that's what we're going to see. But I think we're going to see that for the most part here, and it looks pretty much like the majority of the field has started that way anyways on that set of medium tires. You don't get... This is a long racetrack. You're at high speeds. You're doing a lot of cornering, and there's a lot of up and down throughout the racetrack here when you're running around St. Croix B. So, I mean, it's kind of like sandpaper in a sense. We got Jay coming into pit lane here for a pit stop. We got Dylan coming into pit lane here for a pit stop as well. So, you know, I would assume we would see a lot of one-stop medium tire strats here today. I think that's probably what we're going to end up seeing up in the front half of the field here. But I think we're going to see the two-stop strategies coming into play here and see some shorter soft tire stints. So you can get about 15 to 20 minutes out of the soft tires if you don't absolutely destroy them at a full send pace. You do have to take care of them to some extent, or the fall off does start to become pretty significant because of the length of the racetrack and the speed of the racetrack. So you have to consider some of these decisions fairly lightly, and strategies are at play. So I mean, even the medium tires after 21 minutes here are quite worn out on some of these racing cars already as well. So a very abrasive track surface here at St. Croix B, and it's showing in the tires of the drivers here right now. But it is Superboy in the lead. It's Mischievous here in the second place, and it's JP here currently sitting in third place on the racetrack. And then there's about a 5.5 second gap. And oh, I thought it was ATB, but it is actually Doug Burrow right there, and then ATB is just a second in behind Doug Burrow there. So Doug Burrow is now trying to make that charge back towards the front of the pack here. Jakey in sixth place. Obviously, a couple drivers making pit stops there, so but 3.5 seconds off of the rear bumper of ATB. So our pit stoppers here are roughly about 20 or 30 seconds in behind the rest of that pack, depending on where they came out. But it is 17 seconds for Streeter Tom. It is 21 seconds for Jakey here, 20 seconds for Dylan, and about 23 seconds for J-Set here currently right now. It's about 3 seconds separate those three drivers apart from each other in both directions. Alright, so Super's in the race lead here currently right now. We've got Miss Devious here in second place. We've got JP here in third position. So, talking about our VR2 drivers, two of them are on the podium here currently. One of them is 10 tenths Miss Devious, and the other is JP. Both these drivers are our pro VR2 racers here in this division this season. And oh, Miss Devious has got to gather that Porsche up. That was a great save right there from 10 tenths Miss Devious in that Porsche. She got a little bit loose. The car snapped out on her, and she managed just to reel it back in. It cost her second place there, but it does not cause the car to crash and wreck and take damage. So at least she's still in the hunt here for a potential race win currently as the race stands right now. Doug is 4.6 seconds in behind Miss Devious there and starting to close in on that front pack, and bringing along with them is ATB just on the edge of the toe of that Lamborghini right now. Jakey is 2.9 seconds in behind and starting to close back in on ATB there as well. Streeter Tom is now only 16 seconds in behind, so moving quite quickly up the racetrack. Dylan now is 2.8 seconds in behind Tom, and Jay is 5 seconds in behind Dylan. That's Rebecca. In my chat, first I think my brain is just tired and my eyes are looking at things and my brain isn't fully registering things as I'm seeing. I mean, I'm seeing it, the people coming into the chat. I always like to try and say hi to everybody, and I for some reason I'm just not seeing the names properly today, I guess, so I apologize to our viewers. We'll just do what we do best and keep the racing action coming here. But Miss Devious is all over JP here right now as the Porsche and the Lamborghini continue to jockey for second place here. But I mean, they gotta be careful how much they're going to battle here as well, because they do not want to let that 29 Ferrari up in front get too far away. But speaking of, we see a pit stop being made by Superboy there, and he is going to relinquish that race lead to JP in the Lamborghini. That will put Doug up into third position. We also got ATB coming into pit lane here as well, so that will now put Jake up into fourth position as we start to see a pit stop sequence take place here at St. Croix B this weekend for Split 1 here at the Vegas Cup Series. We are definitely down on numbers a little bit this weekend here in our top lobby. We will probably see the same thing next weekend as well. We'll probably be seeing a couple of our racers missing next weekend as well, potentially. We'll have to wait and see how all that plays out as Jakey, JP, Streeter Tom are all taking part of that 24-hour spa race next weekend. Oh no, we lost Doug. Oh no. Alright, so a disconnect here from Team Rad's Doug Barrow, and he'll still get points. He'll still get those 12 lap points, unfortunately for him there, but definitely not the result he was looking for there. And that was just a tough race there for Doug here this weekend, and I mean, yeah, that's the way it goes. I'm just typing that in our administration chat here just so I can track it while I'm thinking about it, because I tend to forget to write these things down when these things happen live, and then I have to go back and look at replays to get that information. So I'm going to try and save myself a little bit of work here and do it now. How you doing, Cars? How you doing, brother? Alright, so 1010's Misdevious now is the new race leader, so our third different race leader here so far today. It looks like we've got Misdevious coming into pit lane. JP's opting to continue around the racetrack. Jakey is also going to continue around the racetrack. We got Streeter Tom here in 4th position. We've got Dylan now up into P5. We got Supra here in 6th place. We've got ATB in 7th position, and we've got JSet here in 8th place, and it'll be a 9th place finish for Doug. Now, it doesn't really matter in that sense because there's no bonus points for finishing in 9th place. You know, it's not a typical point standings here where your 9th place gets the 10 or 12 or 8 points or whatever it would work out to at that point in the roster off a typical point system. He's going to get 12 points for his race today. So even though he only made essentially half the race, he's going to still receive half a race worth of points essentially. So it's a point per lap here for our racers this season, and really the bonus points entail in a few different spots. You get bonus points for fastest lap, you get bonus points for finishing on the podium. If you don't have one of those 4 things really going for you in the race, then it really comes down to decision making on the racetrack and deciding whether you want to battle with the cars ahead and behind you, or you're just worrying about making sure that your lap count stays where the race leader's lap count is. So obviously being on the lead lap is important as well. So, you know, small little mistakes, small little incidents, you know, things that set you back 30 seconds or 20 seconds or 10 seconds at a time, you know, could eventually cost you points in a race like this. Maybe not so much this racetrack because it's JSet looking like he just had a moment there, entering Bridge Hill there, and we got some front aero damage there from JSet, and let's slow him down just a little bit here, but he continues on. Oh wow, the field's barely going to make half race point here too, it looks like. So the drivers are up against it here this weekend. I mean, it's a long racetrack, it's a high-speed racetrack, so these mid-engine cars are really at the high end of their RPMs throughout a large part of the racetrack here. And when these mid-engine cars are in the high power of the RPM, that's great for them because that's kind of where their power range is. But they are gobbling up fuel like crazy in these cars when they're bouncing off the RPMs like that in these mid-engine cars. So fuel usage is probably a little bit extra here this weekend just because of the nature of the racetrack that the drivers are racing on. So fuel is definitely going to be in the back of the minds of some of the racers here based off what I'm seeing there. I mean, we're barely going to make a 30-minute window with the amount of fuel in the car. So the way that the drivers are driving these cars and the pit strategy is actually quite crucial here this weekend without really realizing it, because fuel is potentially an issue here as far as one stop goes, right? So for drivers that are two stopping, it's not an issue at all, but for those drivers that are one stopping, you really need to manage that fuel tank. I mean, JP is just reaching the 30-minute mark of the race here, so the midway point of the race, and he's just entering Bridge Hill, meaning he's still got half the racetrack to go yet to finish this lap. And he's on fumes. I mean, he is not going to be able to go another time around when he gets around. So, I mean, the Lamborghini barely holding on to just enough fuel. And the racer started on 100 liters of fuel, so a full tank of fuel as well. Meaning that, I mean, 30 minutes of fuel is potentially stretching it for some of these cars. Very interesting. I know, dude. I know. That's rough, bro. The bonus, at least you're getting 12 points out of the deal still. So it's not all a wash. And you'll get a really good starting position next week. There is that. Yeah, no, I hate that. You know what? It's not your guys' fault right now. Like I said, during that 24-hour race yesterday over Saturday and leading into Sunday morning here this morning, the lobbies are absolutely terrible. The servers are terrible right now. you know, the Los Angeles World Tour live event was literally yesterday as well, while we were doing our 24-hour race for Split 2 at IRO. So I think that had probably a lot to do with the instability of the servers, but the servers were super unstable yesterday. They were really bad. Spectator mode was really bad. The live timing was really bad. And I mean, for the way that IRO operates their endurance series over there, I mean, those are all very important, crucial details to make sure that they everything is done properly, right, for the sake of the racing and the fair play, right? So it was a struggle over the last 24 hours, all day Saturday and leading into Sunday morning here over there at IRO with the servers. And although I was really silently just hoping that we weren't going to see any disconnects today, sadly there it is, and unfortunately you're the victim of it. I mean, I don't think it's anybody's fault right now. I mean, if you've got a really bad internet connection, I mean, that would definitely explain why you would disconnect from the lobby. I mean, that's not the case for Doug. Doug never disconnects from me, ever in this game. So I mean, yeah, it's not your fault, man. It's not my fault. It is literally just trash PD servers right now, and it's unfortunate. You know, we're just trying to have a good championship here, and we love playing Gran Turismo 7, but I mean, the game is just not in the best of conditions at the moment right now for the online aspect, and it's unfortunate that this always seems to happen in the middle of a championship. The game has just got something going on, right? That's not ideal. This weekend, very unstable servers. The online servers are not great this weekend. So for those that have, you know, for the GTRC canceling the race this weekend because of IRO, I mean, that was probably a good thing anyways. I mean, in other words, you guys would be dealing with the same issues there this weekend. So I'm a little bit unimpressed with the platform right now, currently. You know, to be honest with you, it's not to be a negative Nancy here, because we're here for a positive reason and a positive cause, but it is a little bit taxing on the team, the racers, and the staff to be dealing with unnecessary problems due to unstable servers. I mean, you know, we don't control the servers. There's not much we can do about that. So Streeter Tom here in the racing lead. We see him weaving a little bit side to side there, so I'm assuming that a little mistake was made. He was just scrubbing off some dirt off his tires there, potentially. We got Supra here in third place. Jakey is all over the rear bumper of Supra here. Supra is going to take a semi-defensive line here, and that's going to shoot him out a little bit wide on the exit here. Should allow the inside track there for Jakey, and that's exactly what we see there. A little over-under action here from Jakey in that Ford GT, and Supra's hanging on real tight here as we head into this left-hander, and we're still side by side, so the drivers will still need to be aware of the space that needs to be there between each other. And Jakey moving a little extra wide on the exit there, just because Supra's car pushed so deep into the corner. And I mean, you know, those are things that we need to watch out for as racers as well. There's absolutely nothing wrong with racing hard and battling side by side, but you still need to leave appropriate space for the opponent that you're battling against. You can't just full send it, let your car slide across the track, and hopefully it doesn't wreck the guy beside you, right? You know, hard pushing, hard driving in that Ferrari there, and that causes that car to really slide out there. But Jakey's a patient racer, and he, you know, reads the situation as it happens here, and Supra's just going to settle in behind Jakey here. So Jakey does finally get the position from Supra there in P3, and Supra down into P4. And I mean, Supra's absolutely sending that Ferrari with 110% effort here right now today at St. Croix B. I mean, he is literally driving the wheels off of that Ferrari, and but I mean, Jakey had an answer for him there. So that was a good little battle right there for P3 between Jakey and Supra. Mischievous here in fifth place with ATB trailing 3/4 of a second in behind here right now. JP is 2.9 seconds in behind them, and Jays is about 13 seconds in behind them. We've seen a oopsie moment at the bottom of Bridge Hill there as well, which set him back a little bit 2 or 3 laps ago now. But it is Streeter Tom currently with the race lead, so that's like our fourth different race leader here so far already at St. Croix B. Some of that is due to pit stopping, and some of that is due to strategic decision making as far as that pit stopping goes. But it is Dylan now in second position. No way you are streaming again already, and those guys racing after this, right? No, it's facts. Facts. I mean, Jakey was one of our race officials this weekend. Here he is on track, right? 10 Tenths Mischievous raced 12 hours ago. In IRO, JSET was off this weekend because he was literally drove like 4,000 miles in real life traveling. So yeah, there are some tired racers here. We have a couple racers that just didn't make the grid as well, one of which was in IRO, right? So we'll have the same problem next weekend again as well, because we have round 6 next weekend and it's a tough one. So yeah, we'll be missing a couple of racers most likely next weekend's grid as well. We do have reserves in the championship. We do reach out to those reserves, but I mean, obviously, if a reserve can't, race that weekend, then there's not much we can do about it. But with that being said, one of the 2 reserves is also in IRO next weekend as well. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? We have drop rounds and playing the championship for the racers at least, so there is 2 drop rounds in the 10-week championship season, so it gives them a little bit of flexibility. But yeah, it's tough right now trying to schedule championships when you work full time, right? So being a part-time content creator, meaning I have to hold my championships either on a weeknight or I have to hold them on the weekend, right? And I mean, that's when most of the championships in league racing happens, is on the weekends. So you got to try and find a little bit of wiggle room in amongst all of the racing that's happening throughout the community on 2 days, right? It is so hard. But kudos to the racers. I mean, they show up and they do their thing, man, and they continue to push on here. So ATB here in 6th position with JP, very close behind here in 7th place, and JSET in 8th place. We did lose Doug Barrow due to disconnect there, unfortunately, about 5 laps ago. We hate to see it, but again, PT servers are absolute garbage right now, and it's unfortunate. They're just not up to par. We'll leave it at that. I spent enough time trashing Gran Turismo and PD in a 24-hour race. We don't need to do it here today again in the hour race, right? Maybe a little bit, but not a whole bunch. Super in 4th place. We got Miss Devious here in 5th place in the IRO car. As a matter of fact, the St. Jude's IRO car on track here right now for the race today as well. We've got ATB here in 6th position. We've got JP here in 7th, and we got JSET here in 8th place. The St. Jude's IRO Porsche livery does have the an exemption here in the championship season, as per me, obviously because it is a St. Jude's representative car designed for this championship series, for this fundraising effort, obviously for the race over the last 24 hours specifically, but has been approved to be used here in this championship as well. I mean, we have a mandate that St. Jude's Children's Hospital needs to be on the windshield banner, and there's a number 7 decal that needs to be on the windshield banner there, but I mean, that car is literally all about St. Jude's and colored in St. Jude's colors with St. Jude's all over it, so it has all the required decals. The car is the required decal essentially. So yeah, we've allowed that car to be on track without having to make those livery adjustments. So I'm sure that there are some people in some races out there that are very attuned to that and have caught that and are probably questioning why that car has been approved to be on track. I'm going to clarify that for everybody right now. A special exemption from myself for the championship, for this particular championship with that particular livery on that car. Just due to the fact that it is the St. Jude's fundraising livery. I mean, that's kind of the thing we're using on our socials and our thumbnails. That's kind of the car that goes everywhere. So it is the host design, so to speak. It is a beautiful car, though. It looks so good in dark on the racetrack, because then when the light hits the car, or headlights hit the car, and all those little stars that are all over the car, they really pop out, and it actually looks like stars on the car. It looks really cool. It looked really cool in the dark at Spa last night, so it was fun to watch that car go around the track all weekend, that's for sure. Especially for like 12 hours, or like the first 12 hours of the race when we were literally sitting up in 3rd place. That was even better, but it kind of unfolded on us a little bit. I had a massive equipment malfunction in the middle of my stint last night as well. My brake pedal completely fell apart. so I have a load cell load cell brake pedal on my pedal set, and then I guess over time of just using it, the pin that holds all the shocks and all the parts together for the pressure for the load cell, and then of course it clips in underneath the pedal into a housing, and then it screws into a little rotating lever at the bottom of the base of the pedal. For those of us that have load cell pedals, you probably know what I'm talking about. But somehow or somewhere along the way, that pin has a thread on the bottom side of the pin that goes into the pedal housing at the base, and it has to be threaded in, right? So I guess over all the time of using it over the last year and a bit, I guess, since I've had these particular pedals, that pin has slowly but surely unthreaded itself from that rotating mounting housing at the bottom of my pedals. So right in the middle, just after my pit stop, my scheduled pit stop in the IRO race for my last tire stint, I went to push the brakes and they just went dead solid. All of a sudden I had like no brakes. I was just straight on or off brakes, alright? So we were making that work, and then all of a sudden I was coming through Blow Chemin into the chicane at the end of the Spa, and went to hit the on switch, so to speak, for the brakes at the time, and the brakes just didn't work. They just bottomed out, right? So I'm like, oh my god. Got the car barely turned through the corner in time before, taking damage and hitting the wall, and had to hit the start button, put it in auto drive for a quarter of a lap or so, and I had to get down and assess what was going on. But I go down and see what's going on, and I go to grab onto the shock and the whole setup there, and it all just falls apart into the bottom of the pedal tray. So I had to like scoop it all up, slam it all together really quick, force the pin back into place, and had to race over an hour with a broken load cell pedal, not properly attached. So we got that sorted out, and then about 4 laps later we're racing, and the force feedback just absolutely quit working on my T300 wheel. So I don't know if that was game related as far as the force feedback issue goes. Most likely was, or my wheel was just overheating. But it's not like I was racing for 10 hours straight. I was only racing my stint plus warm up beforehand, so I don't think that was the case. So I think the game got me a little bit on the force feedback issue with the wheel, but yeah, the pedal thing was completely crazy. I mean, I'm in the middle of a 2-hour stint with active live traffic on the racetrack around me, and I'm sitting here literally trying to repair my brake pedal while racing. I mean, oh my goodness, it was just an absolute disaster for me last night in my stint. And I mean, we got the car around, we got the car back to pit lane for the driver's swap, but man, it easily cost me 5 minutes of time on the racetrack last night in my stint due just to equipment and failure, and trying to sort all of that out on the fly while racing. Hit that Camel straight and pause and tweak for a second and unpause before the braking's on. Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad, chat. I'm pretty tired, Pezza. I'm pretty tired. Yeah, I think I'm doing 12 hours of the race next weekend as well myself in the booth. So, much like last season, as the season grows on, the commentators grow lighter, apparently, when they become less and less available. So my schedule gets more full and full and full. But I mean, I've made myself available for the 24 hours of Spa for that reason. We did most of the race last season as well. I think we did 14 hours of the race last season. So, we were already preparing ourselves to do probably half the race this season as well, just based off of what happened last season. So I mean, it's all good. I'm glad it's over, though. I'm glad we get to take a break here for a few weeks and not have to think about it, to be honest. I get to focus on this championship here now and focus on the fundraising effort till the end of the year, and then we can think about IRO next season again in 2026 when they make their announcements, right? So one more weekend, one more kick at the can here, and hopefully the lobbies are in better shape for the drivers next weekend. That's all I hope. I just hope that the lobbies are in better condition. I mean, we are at the end of the month, technically. We should have already had that update from Gran Turismo 7, and shocker. There's a live event going on, so no update. So that means no fixes. A big steamy one right in everybody's backyard is what they're doing right now with our servers. Big steamy one. Alright, so we've had pit stop sequences starting here again. We're on lap 21. We're 45.5 minutes into the race at this point, so we are 3/4 of the way through our 1 hour event here, and it is Supra in the lead here. Mischievous is 8/10 of a second in behind, with ATB in third place, 5.5 seconds in behind her. JP here is in fourth place, and it is a three-way battle essentially here right now for third place currently on the racetrack. Different tire strategies, different pit stop strategies, and definitely different pace of the cars in amongst each other here on the racetrack right now. So this should make for a little bit of an interesting series of corners here for the first lap or two until we see this pit stop sequence fully filter out, and then we'll see where everybody's properly at here. So Jakey coming off of his pit stop, 3-second track limit penalty there. That's not going to be very ideal, as he was in the race lead when he came into pit lane there, so that may cost him that race lead just due to that 3-second pit lane infraction. Jay said here is about 30 seconds in behind the field right now, but it is Supra here in the race lead. There's 13 minutes left. He should have enough tire left in the car. The bigger question is does he have enough fuel left in the car to get all the way around? So Mischievous here is in second place, very close in behind. Superboy here with half a second, 6/10 of a second now separating the two drivers. So a couple of car lengths right now separating the Ferrari and the Porsche as they head up the start finish line here and head towards turn number 1. So this is a fairly sweeping high mid-speed corner. You can see a pretty heavy defensive line here from Supra as they head into turn number 1 here, and again Mischievous just takes her natural line around the corner and just tucks right back in behind the Ferrari. And the one thing that I'm seeing that the pro tier drivers here in the championship season, and Supra is new to the GT45 Gaming Championship Racing Series, and of course new to our pro division lobbies here as well. You know, they don't make that immediate forceful move to try and get around, right? They realize that he is a fairly quick driver and he is a fairly defensive racer as well, right? So he's kind of, that car is kind of all over the place when it needs to be type thing. So, you know, they sit behind and they just apply pressure and they just assess the situation and just continue to make him force his own mistakes. And that's exactly what we just seen right there. Again, just that little deep into Bridge Hill right there, and it clips the wall on the exit, and Mischievous has the momentum as she comes up Bridge Hill nice and clean without contact on the wall, and very easily just takes the lead away from Superboy there. Superboy loses a lot of momentum with the tap on the wall, costs a mile per hour. Also starts to help Mischievous build a small little gap, but the Ferrari is a pretty spicy, quick little race car here right now, currently in GT7. If you can handle this car, it's quick for sure. So Mischievous is not out of the woods by any means, or here with Superboy right now as he continues to chase her down, but there is going to have to be a pit stop made here from Superboy this lap or next time around here, as well as the fuel is depleting right here in that Ferrari. So pit strategies are key here in the championships as well, and especially when you have an open tire strat. I mean, that really does open the door of possibilities for tire strategy, and that's kind of a reason why we decided to go that way this season. I mean, we've already forced the racers to drive mid-engine cars. We've banned a few of the cars in the GT3 class this season to not be allowed to be used, obviously just due to difference in racing technology and just the complications that creates. Like, for example, the two old Ford GT40 cars, are they fun cars to drive? Well, absolutely. They're probably really fun to drive around here, actually. But, you know, when you compare them to these newer style race cars, GT3 race cars with this newer technology in them, they're just two different types of cars. They handle different, they brake different, they need different areas of the racetrack to do different things, and it just creates a lot of unnecessary contact in the racetrack. So I mean, the easy way as an organizer to deal with that situation is that you one, make it so it's only those cars on the racetrack, or you just eliminate them from the championship and don't allow them to be on track. So that's what we've done. We've also banned the McLaren BMW F1 GT3 car and a couple of the VGT cars as well. So just stay straight and true to the mid-engine system. So I mean, we've already kind of made this series championship fairly difficult for our racers just by forcing them to drive mid-engine cars. We've thrown some different tracks that the drivers aren't used to seeing from GT45 Gaming in our championships as well. We like to stick to really real-world, good racing, flowing tracks in our championships, but we've definitely thrown some curveballs as far as tracks goes into our championships this season. We did Deep Forest Reverse in round 3. I mean, we never run reverse tracks here at GT45 Gaming. I mean, I am not a fan of reverse race tracks myself personally, so you know, it's something that I don't typically want to put in the championships that we host either, but you know, it's also the reason of the championship and why we're doing the championship. You know, it's in honor of Paul Bloomstrom, and you know, he was a unique gentleman. He liked very unique styles of races in this game for fun factor, right? To go out, have some fun, bang some doors, and have some laughs with your friends, right? That's the kind of stuff he liked to you know, come in and hang out and take part in and see. I mean, he also loved the clean championship racing and the commentary aspects of the sim racing too, but he also loved to come in and be the one to throw out the quirky, weird, crazy race combination that everybody is just going to giggle like little schoolgirls over while they race it, right? You know, that's what he was all about. So we've gone outside the box a little bit here, just to try and keep some of that fun factor into the championship series. We definitely contemplated some tracks that are banned in GT45 Gaming Championships normally as well. So it was an interesting discussion anyways, let's say, as we were doing the development of the track schedules and stuff like that for the championship, because some of the suggestions were pretty wild, I tell you what. But we had to keep it to the GT3 cars. So I mean, that's the championship base was the MR GT3 cars this championship season, this Vegas Cup Series season. And the All-Star race is exactly what we're going to do with the All-Star race. So in 2026, once the championship season is done, everything's all official, we get the trophies all sent away to our winners, we are going to have an All-Star race some in the early time of January. And what we do is we take our top 5 racers from each division and we put them on the track in some kind of crazy race that's literally just designed for hype, entertainment, and fun for the fans, fun for the racers, and obviously a last stab at the fundraising efforts for whichever charity it is we're supporting with that championship, right? We typically support charities with our championships here, so that's not unusual. As we did with DMJ Vroom Vroom, we were supporting Macmillan Cancer Support through those championship events as well, right? So I mean, you know, that All-Star race, that's kind of the last show. You know, that's supposed to be the best of the best of each division up against each other, having some fun, testing their might against each other. You know, you got pros, pro-ams, and ams all on the track together, and in a crazy situation. It's going to be no different in this championship here in the Vegas Cup Series. You know, we are starting that, I'm starting to seriously think about how we're going to adapt the All-Star race in the 2026 calendar year here. And at the end of the day, we would determine it's going to be basically 3 20-minute shorter races, or somewhere in along that variation. And each one of those 3 races is going to be a Paul Bloomstrom special. It is going to be some kind of wild, crazy combination that everybody is going to have so much fun, not only on a viewer standpoint, but on a racer standpoint. They're going to be crazy, insane, rule book thrown out the window style kind of races. So the All-Star race is going to be an absolute blast. And you know what, it's also something that the drivers look forward to, something that the drivers actually compete towards as well in these championships here at GT45 Gaming, when they know what the All-Star races are, and especially if it's got their interest peaked. Sometimes a championship isn't the point of their finishing position in the season. Sometimes just making sure they make that top quota in their division to get into that All-Star race, right? So, you know, it's a lot of fun. We've done it in the past, and I think our last one we did was a high-speed ring forward and reverse race. So we did one of each, and we had LMP1 cars, I believe it was, with extreme boost on, and it was absolute organized, sheer fun chaos. And you know, that's what it's all about, right? So that's what we're trying to do here. The championship obviously is serious racing. These drivers are competing. There's trophies on the line for these racers. For those that are here to compete for the prizes, you know, that's what they're focused on. For those that are here to support the series and the cause in St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, that's not necessarily their concern. They're just here to have fun and race hard and have some fun with their friends out on track, right? But you know, at the end of the day, the whole point is that to come out here and have fun. You know, we don't want it to feel like a job. If we want it to feel like a job, then there'd be a big prize pool, a big cash prize pool at the end of the season, right? For you to be willing to put that kind of effort in to win it, right? So this is not the case here. We're literally here for support for the Bloomstrom family, having some fun. You know, the way that Paul loved to come in and hang out with us and say goodbye, and also kind of heal as a community together as well. and support a great cause. I mean, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, what else can you say? I mean, it just speaks for itself. I mean, you don't need to know who they are or what they do. I mean, everybody knows who St. Jude's is and what they do. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is it's not just the United States of America benefiting from the St. Jude's Research Children's Hospital anymore. They're moving global. They're moving into an international level. They want to support another 50 different countries. No cost to those countries for the medicines, no cost for the families to be with the children, or the children to get it treated, that the St. Jude's way. But they need our help. They need the global community's help. They need funds for that to happen. In order to get to 50 new countries and supply medicines and staff and all the things and the aid that's needed to continue treating our young children and cancer patients worldwide. They need our help globally. They need people to fundraise. They need people to be able to donate. So that's what we're here. We're here trying to do our part with St. Jude's in cooperation with St. Jude's and try to help them raise some of that money for their new global initiative. I think what they're doing is fantastic. And, I'm not going to fundraise for an organization that I don't think is doing something to make a difference, right? I mean, there is plenty of non-profit organizations out there, but what are they doing to make a difference in the world? The goal at GT45 Gaming is to try to change the way that the world sees the world. Good vibes, good messages, good positivity, and try to help people learn how to deal, with their own things without having to resort to, whatever it is. Maybe it's an addiction, or maybe it's violence, or maybe it's something worse, right? So that's what we're trying to do as a creator and an influence here. So I mean, I'm only want to support organizations that are trying to make a real genuine difference in the world, and St. Jude's is one of those organizations. So I mean, it's absolute pleasure to be able to try and help St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital out in their adventures and their endeavors, because it's absolutely amazing what they have done and what they continue to do. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Back to racing, though. 4/10 of a second separating Streeter Tom and 10/10 Misdevious. We have 2 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock, so it'll be this lap and one more time around for these races. The Streeter Tom is going to take a look up the inside here, and Misdevious is going to try to do the over-under there, but she cannot seem to get the power down quite enough there. You've seen a little wiggle from the car. She tried to get the power down. She's going to have to settle in behind Streeter Tom. So Streeter Tom taking the race lead away with a lap to go here on 10/10 Misdevious. Has been a great race here for 10/10 Misdevious so far this weekend. JP2 here this weekend. He's had that Lamborghini on the podium pretty much all race long, but we're keeping definitely our eye here on Streeter Tom and 10/10 Misdevious. And there's, again, pit strategies are really key here. JP is 2 seconds in behind here, and as we come across the start finish line, it is going to be the penultimate lap here for round number 5 here at St. Croix B, and I think the majority of our field should come across and get that final lap here as well. So we got Supra here in a 6th position as he comes across the line. We still got a minute 46, so definitely all our racers are going to be on that lead lap here today. So it will be 27 completed racing laps here for all of our field here today. So, like I said, no matter where you finish in the grid, it's all about racing laps when it comes to those points, right? I mean, 8th place is going to get the same amount of points as 1st place as far as general points goes. Everybody's going to receive 27 points this weekend here for the race, with the exception of poor Doug, who disconnected on lap 12. He's only going to get poor 12 points. But, so where's the difference here? Well, if Tom continues to maintain 1st place here, which it appears he's doing so far with a 2.1 second gap, he will get a bonus 3 points. If Misdevious holds on to 2nd place, he will get an additional 2 bonus points, and if JP holds on to 3rd place, he will get an additional bonus point. So our podium does get rewarded for finishing on the podium. And then we've got that fastest lap. That is a 2-point bonus this championship season. So there is a potential to scoop up an additional 5 bonus points if you can take fastest lap and the race win on top of those lap points. So that's why I say, every decision these racers make this season really does come down to their points total. Every decision that these racers make this season has to come down to, well, how many laps am I going to get and how much points potential do I have this week? If I'm sitting in 6th place, I'm 25 seconds behind the race lead. The pit stop sequences are all done for the race, and I know unless that driver absolutely wrecks and crashes, there's no way I'm going to catch him. I'm thinking in my mind now, well, okay, I'm off the podium for the bonus points, so it's about the lap count here. I'm immediately thinking, I'm not battling with anybody. Why battle with somebody? Why am I going to give myself a disadvantage of 2, 3, or 4, or 5, or 10 seconds in a hard battle for position when I'm not getting rewarded with a bonus point for that position? So no, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to worry about my lap count. So the racers are starting to adapt to this philosophy of thinking like a professional race car driver, essentially. I mean, this championship is not about necessarily sheer pace. It's also about decision making and that strategy, and that is ultimately, you put those three things together here in this pro division this season, that is what's going to win that pro divisional championship. It is not going to be just sheer pace here this season that's going to win this championship. It is going to be a combination of strategy, on the track thinking, decision making, and of course your pace does help. Jay said here coming around in 8th place, and we'll finish up his lap here as well. And again, you know, Jay said had not having his fastest race of the championship season here, but he had a good consistent race, and he kept the car on the lead lap with the rest of the racers. And I mean, he's 30 seconds behind, but loses absolutely nothing in the point standings on those racers, except for the drivers that gain some bonus points. So it should create for some tight standings. I think here this season is a completely brand new point system in the sim racing world, and it should be quite interesting. So GG's to RA's Streeter Tom for the race win there, and a last lap battle with 1010's Misdevious there for the race win. 1010's Misdevious will take second place here in the race today. JP will take that final podium position. Dylan in 4th place, Jakey in 5th, Supra in 6th, ATB in 7th, and JSet in 8th place. And poor Doug Barrow disconnecting there on lap 12. Had great pace here today. He most certainly would have been in that conversation, I think, at the end of the day here today. And you just hate to see it. You hate to see it. I'm going to go open my Discord server real quick. It shouldn't lag the stream out. And see if we have podium interviewers today. We will totally go talk to our racers here today. Who do we got? We got Jake. No, we got Tom, Misdevious, and JP. I wouldn't say slow, Supra. I would say that you just didn't have the right strategy today. That's what I would say. All right. Just checking a little bit of Discord chat. I wasn't paying attention. Then I heard your car to my left. Oh. Well, the stewards might be busy. The fuel doesn't last for a one stop. Well, it does if you manage the race car. See, this is lessons sometimes for our racers as well, right? I had to that Ferrari could have done a one-stop here for sure. It's just a matter of how you manage that race car. Now, Super was driving that thing absolutely 110% full tilt, everything that car had, and there's nothing wrong with driving the car like that. That's pretty much how you have to drive that car to keep it underneath of you anyways, right? But if you just dial it back just a little bit, instead of giving it 110%, give it 102%, you're saving that 8% in fuel over the duration of your stint. That's usually enough to save that extra lap or two you need to stretch out to get the halfway mark. But these races are designed not to be a simple feat. Some of these racetracks are going to be tire aggressive, some of these racetracks are going to be fuel aggressive, and some of these tracks are going to be neither, or some of these tracks are going to be both, right? So it's designed that way. I mean, there is a method to our madness here. We don't want it to be too easy. We want it to be challenging. We want the drivers to really flex their brains and use their muscles and really come up with some crazy strategies. So congratulations to all of the racers here today. That was good racing by everybody. All right. yeah, well, I'm gonna have to go take a look, see what happened at the beginning of the race there too, just so I know for myself what happened there. But I mean, nonetheless, it was a good race. It was a bit of a small grid here today. 9 of our 13 racers on grid here today. But again, with a big 24-hour race just happening over literally 6 hours before this race started here, I'm not surprised that we were missing some of our grid here this weekend. It'll be much the same next weekend as well. We'll probably be missing a couple of our racers here in the Pro Split division next weekend as well, due to the IRL Split 1 race. So, but we will be back with round number 6, and I got to tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, next weekend is going to be probably the toughest race of the season. And you, what do you mean? That's not Nürburgring. You're right. That's not Nürburgring. However, that doesn't change the fact that round 6 is going to be the toughest race of the season, if not probably for most of our racers. We are heading over to Japan for round number 6, and we are going to hit Suzuka. However, with that being said, this is not a random weather race. This is a very predetermined style race setup, and it's the only race this season that we do not have the weather model set to random on the dynamic weather, as we wanted to make sure that one race this championship season was absolutely soaked. So, with that being said, we are going to be racing at Suzuka in pretty heavy rain next weekend. The rain settings are right in the mid-range, which means there is potential for torrential downpours and heavy wet conditions here at Suzuka next weekend in these mid-engine cars. It's going to be an absolute blast, or an absolute race of carnage. We're not sure yet, but the one thing that the MR cars are really great with is rain. They are fantastic at driving in the water, most of anyways. They're light, they're nimble, and they're designed for technical racing. So rain racing really kind of falls right up an MR car's alley. So it's not going to be so much that the cars aren't going to be able to handle the wet. It's how wet is it going to be at Suzuka next weekend, and is it going to rain for the entirety of the race? So it is a race setup where it's still not guaranteed that you're going to see that weather in the lobby, but it definitely has a very high probability of at some point in the race we are going to see rain, and we are going to see these drivers force their skill level up there and really tackle a challenging circuit. So we may have a smaller grid just due to that reason alone as well. But I mean, it is Suzuka, and it's another 25 or 26 laps in the pocketbook for the points in the standings at the end of the day, and for the drivers that show up. I mean, that's a crack at the bonus points as well. So GG's to everybody. We're gonna go do one last check in our Discord. We haven't done podium interviews except for round 1, so I mean the drivers aren't expecting that anymore, and unless we announce it, which we'll do next week, we'll announce that we will be doing podium interviews next week again, hopefully on the new PC. Hey, wink wink, nudge nudge. We have a new member of the community building a PC right now for the page, so we have the parts that have been ordered for the build coming in early this week, and with any luck we can have it all together and running by next weekend as far as the PC itself goes. Now, whether or not we can have it home, hooked up, set up to the stream, tested and working for streaming, I think that's a bit of a stretch. We'll probably unfortunately have to wait for the next weekend before that's going to happen. There's programming, and there's updating and downloading and installing and all kinds of stuff I'm going to have to do, obviously, on the new PC to get everything set up, and then we're going to have to hard test everything. It's a much better machine than what we're using currently right now for the stream, so we should stop having a lot of these lagging issues and freeze frame issues during the streams, and we should be able to do a lot more with the streams as well with the new machine. So that is a community donated PC build that's coming, and there's actually a couple $100 left over from the donation money from the actual computer tower PC part of the build. So we're going to take those couple $100, we're going to put it towards the new webcam and capture card for the new setup. Capture card is not priority. Obviously we have a perfectly functioning capture card currently right now, which we'll continue to use, but we do want to upgrade a capture card at some point to get to 1440p video quality for everybody. But the webcam is priority because we are currently using the built-in webcam built into our gaming laptop as our webcam. So once we get the new PC, it will be no webcam for a little bit of time until we go and purchase a new one for the new PC. And you know, I'm not going to lie, they are quite expensive right now. So we'll be waiting, and you know, Black Friday sales and Christmas sales will be coming up here soon. So we're kind of holding our wad up until those sales hit, and hopefully we can save a little bit of money, right? There's a couple upgrades that I've held off or on the PC build as well, just due to sheer price of the parts right now. So you know, there's going to be a list of things we'll be looking for Black Friday, Christmas time here, when things go, you know, cheaper anyways for the regular person. So but yeah, we do have the new PC coming finally, and hopefully that improves the quality of the stream back to at least bare minimum what it used to be at, right? So but we do appreciate the continued support here. We have some of the IRO racers and fans in from the weekend in here today too, so we do appreciate you guys, and we definitely raised some money for the fundraiser. Again, I still haven't had time to go and actually check on the fundraising amount yet since yesterday, and then of course after today as well, so we'll go take a peek at that this afternoon. And the race will have 24 hours at this point in all three splits to report any incidents that they feel like there was an incident that cost them time or position on the racetrack. We'll have our stewards look at that. We have a stewarding report that needs to go out today for last weekend's racing round, and we have standings that need to be done today for last weekend's racing round. We'll have all that caught up today for everybody. And should be all caught up officially here again now after round 5. It's been a little bit of a crazy couple of weeks, so appreciate everybody's patience. And I mean, what else to say, but see you next weekend. We'll see you next Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern time for round 6 of the Vegas Cup Series right here at GT45 Gaming for the Pro Split, No Lander Gaming for the Pro Am Split, and Fast Ginger on YouTube for the Am Split. We may merge the Ams and the Pro Ams together next week, which means we may have a co-hosting situation between No Lander and Fast Ginger over there as well. But however that works out for next weekend's race, well, we'll have the content out there live for you right here on YouTube. So appreciate everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. Remember, you all matter. Stay winning. Sharing is caring. Don't forget to like and share the stream on the way out, and definitely make sure the campaign fundraising link is being shared out through all your social networks every day. I don't care if you make people upset. I'm making people upset every day. My family and my family Facebook group that I started is screaming at me right now because I'm spamming it with this stuff, right? But you know what? What are they doing right now to help St. Jude's besides complaining about me posting stuff on the Facebook page, right? So that's what I got to say about it. So you know what? Sharing is caring. Spam it. Get it out there. Let's break the internet, and by the end of the championship season, let's blow the doors off that $2,500 USD goal we got set place. So $2,500 is enough money to do one chemotherapy treatment for a child and have their parents there for the week with room and food for the week to be with the child while they go through that chemotherapy care. So essentially that $2,500 is enough money to make sure one family is together for one treatment for 1 week, essentially, is what that amount relates to. So, and that's not even quite enough to cover all that cost. Essentially, we would need about $3,250 to cover everything fully in that sense. But basically, that's what that $2,500 relates to, is a full week of, you know, a family and their child getting chemotherapy cancer treatment at St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So the goal has a purpose and has a point in mind. We're all families. We're all parents, or most of us are parents. We have families of our own. So think about that when you think about the fundraising campaign, and you think about, you know, do I have a couple extra few bucks to send over to St. Jude's? Just stop and really think about that, because you know, if you were down and out and your kid was sick and you couldn't be there, imagine the strain and the stress and the anguish and the anxiety you would feel. But then all of a sudden you have an organization like St. Jude's there. It's like, hey, we got you covered. It's all community donated. Come be with your child. You know, that is like heaven opening its gates in that particular situation, in that particular moment. So really sit there and think about it. I know people don't want to bother people with things like this. You don't want to be pushy or preachy, but you know what? This is something that is really important, and they're doing something really good, genuinely good in the world. And, you know, us parents out there need to open our eyes and see that, you know, that could be us. That could be our child. So I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Remember, stay winning. We'll catch you all on the next one.
cranking up on the throttle, victory is mine. Show you the harder the battle, harder I fight. I've come too far to quit. Step back, I'm going in. I'm cranking up on the throttle. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. Like iron from the fire, getting stronger.